are understood. It is the soul. So as far as the soul is concerned, it understands only the language of feeling. Each unfortunate event in life should be considered as a lesson for the development of our minds. Our attitudes govern our destiny. Therefore, the happiness that we enjoyed in childhood was due to our state of mind, not due to any external factor. We must realize that we have become victims of our own values. In everybody among us, one of the chief vices which could destroy the intellect is the vice of anger. Therefore, a person desirous of remaining a true human being must conquer anger in all possible ways. Anger is an acid that does more harm to the vessel in which it is stored than to the person on whom it is poured. The whole nervous system in our body is shattered by an outburst of anger, and various poisons are thrown into the blood when one is angry. That's why it is absolutely necessary for a person to conquer anger. From anger, delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Hence, anger has to be controlled. The best tool to conquer anger is forgiveness. It is said that by remembering an injury or insult done to us, and not by forgiving the wrongdoers, we keep our wounds ever green. Hence, the best remedy in the interest of our own spiritual, mental and physical health is to forgive the wrongdoers. There are only two things which concern us, mind and matter. Our conscience is the best guru. Only our feelings can bring about self-realization. We should be guided by our feelings, not by our thoughts. The richness of life comes with feelings that which cannot be seen, it can be felt. The greatest pilgrimage is the journey of ours is inward. By looking inward, we can travel to any part of the universe. The inward journey begins from the time we start to observe our mind, body and behavior. Love is the common language of all our creatures. Only our ignorance prevents us from experiencing the love. It is love which permeates the atmosphere, world and universe. We cannot experience love without a feeling of oneness. We should try to convert our adversities into opportunities. We have the intelligence to make weapons, but not the wisdom to refrain from using them. Some nations for which people have fought and died no longer exist. Only those who identify with you are close. All others are strangers, even though they may be related. The younger generation are merely repeating our mistakes. Ceremonious blessings can never be effective as we are responsible for our own deeds, acts and behavior. Our motives determine our destiny. Our selfish motives eventually lead us to misery and destruction, whereas our unselfish motives eventually lead us to bliss and immortality. Brothers, the present age is extremely difficult to live in. The teaching of self-restraint can be effective, first self-control and then discipline. The walls of casteism and communalism divide the people. To make such walls transparent, we should realize and make a slogan: man is first a man, then he is a Hindu or a Muslim. In short, we should realize that we are all one. Problems are multiplying. They prop up in ever new forms. The problems would not be solved as long as the prevalent trends of our age do not change their course. Therefore, the trend would change by observing only each individual self-restraint. It should be truly a historical day for mankind when religion and science complement each other. That would be the day when devotion to self-restraint would have served its purpose and it would be possible to train man to lead a proper life. வாய்ப்பினை கொடுத்த இந்த இஸ்லாமிக் இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் சென்டர் அவர்களுக்கு பணிவுடன் நன்றி கூறி என்னுடைய உரையை முடித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
In the name of Allah, the kindest and the most merciful one, the dignitaries seated in the dais, the dignitaries seated in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset I should thank Madam Fatima Muzaffar, Janab Muzaffar Ahmed, my brother Janab Hakim, for giving me this opportunity to address the elite audience. I feel very humble in front of great scholars like Richard Haynes, Chordia, and the erudite scholar Dr. Zakir Naik, from whom you are going to listen about terrorism and jihad. Terrorism is an aberration in the human behavior. Terrorist, whether it is Hindu fundamentalist, or it is Christian terrorist, or it is Muslim terrorist, they have an abnormal brain. They have delusion and illusion. And the way in which the terrorism has to be tackled is, these people have to be counseled by the fellow human beings. And the administrators have to find out what exactly is the root cause of the terrorism and see that the root cause is completely eliminated. The terrorists are in the pawn, but what exactly is the cause is the one which has to be found out. And they are also fellow human beings. The jihad, what is jihad? Is a struggle. You struggle to earn more and give charity. You struggle more and more to help the fellow human beings, to feed the poor, to look after the downtrodden, to heal the sick and the suffering. The struggle is not to take away life. The struggle is to help life to thrive well in a happy mood. I am a practicing physician and a consultant nephrologist for over 4 decades. 40 years in this profession, fighting illness with hope and optimism has only reinforced one important fact of life, that life is very precious. Every life is a precious gift to be respected and treated with care. Today, life exists even after death. A dead man can save 11 lives with his 2 kidneys, 2 eyes, 2 lungs, 1 heart, 1 liver, 1 pancreas, provided the organs are harvested in time. Of course, the soul is indestructible, that there is always a chance that when a person dies, he goes home. He doesn't die. He lives, he goes and lives in his home. Living is possible only if we learn to live in harmony, learning to care for our fellow human being, expressing our respect and kindness. It is in each human being that the unmanifest God manifests himself. The godliness in man is manifested in his unselfish ability to give food for the hungry, give books to the poor for education, give medicine for the sick, give love to the needy and neglected young or old ones, give a smile of hope to the depressed and deprived. Love is the law of life. Where there is love, there is a touch of divine. Where there is hatred, there is a devil in that particular individual. He has to be counseled. And isn't that what religion is all about? To be good and too good. The secret of religion lies not in theories, but in practice. The basic aim of religion is to bring peace to man. Mahatma Gandhi regarded non-violence as his religion. Today it is very, very important that we follow the principles of the father of the nation. Everyone must be happy here and now. The book from which to learn religion is our own mind and heart. We have to remember it is feeling that is life, strength and vitality. You must have muscles of iron, nerves of steel. Feel like Christ, you will be Christ. Feel like Buddha and you will be Buddha. Religion is the manifestation of the natural strength that is in man. Man's strength or his tolerance, love, unselfishness, generosity, truthfulness, and combined with faith. Differences create gaps, and we need to